Hey everyone, I'm Kim, the mom boss behind EmeryandK. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have the most precious tumbler tutorial to share with you guys. Now, I did not come up with the Color Me tumbler concept. I have no clue who did. Thank you to whoever came up with the idea. I love it. But I do promise these are going to be the easiest Color Me tumblers you will ever make. So let's get to it. So as always, we're going to start with a fully prepped and painted cup. Today I am using a 16-ounce junior. This is from Steel Magnolia. Now these ones already came prepped. So a few times a year, she will have a really good sale on her prepped cups because they are a little bit more expensive than the unprepped cups, but oh my goodness, what a luxury. So if you can stock up on them the few times a year she does a sale because they are so worth it. You literally take them out of the box and they are ready to go. So we're going to wrap the top part of our cup in this printed vinyl from the Glitter Guy. This sheet is called Seasonal Doodles. It is absolutely adorable. I love it. Immediately when I saw it, I knew I wanted to do a Color Me tumbler with it. So these sheets of vinyl are 12 by 12, and because that 16-ounce junior, the top part measures just under 4 inches, I'm actually going to be able to get 4 cups out of this single sheet of vinyl, which really allows me to fully utilize the entire thing. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm not sure what I'm doing here with my ruler. I have no idea. But the first thing I'm going to do is just trim off that little white part along the bottom, like where it says the Glitter Guy and the vinyl name. I'm just going to trim that so that my sheet of vinyl is clean. And then I'm going to go ahead and trim my piece of vinyl for my cup. Like I said, just under 4 inches. I don't know exactly what I did, but I literally put it at 4 inches and then slid it a little bit over. So it doesn't have to be an exact science. We're going to put a pinstripe on it, so it's all going to work out just fine. So I'm going to trim that with this little scrapbook cutter. I love this thing. This is actually Cricut brand, but I got it at like a secondhand store. But any type of scrapbook trimmer is totally worth the investment. It really helps you get nice straight lines. So we'll trim this up. And then after I trim my vinyl, I want to take a second and look at it and decide which images I want whole on my tumbler, if that makes sense. You'll kind of see what I'm talking about here in just a second. So we're going to have to trim this piece again. We're going to cut it to be about 9.5 inches to wrap around our cup. And I just want to kind of decide which little images I want on the tumbler and who gets trimmed off on the end. I feel like I'm not articulating that right, but you guys will kind of get to see right here. I kind of go through the process. Like, do I want to trim, do I end up trimming that little snowman? Do I trim the ornaments on the other end? Kind of like that, because we have to take off, you know, a couple inches of this strip of vinyl to make it the 9.5. So decide on that. You can wrap it around your cup if you need to. I kind of trim off the end because I love this little snowman. I know he is just precious. So see, I'm kind of wrapping around my cup and I'm kind of deciding, do I want to keep the ornaments there with the little reindeer, or do I want to have the snowman? Just kind of decide. I just want to figure that out before I trim my vinyl and I fully commit. So in my head, I decided to trim off the snowman and I thought I'll just put him on the bottom of the tumbler, but I didn't end up doing that because after I did that, I thought it might look kind of off. So he ends up getting trimmed off, but it's totally fine. So decide which images you want, trim your vinyl to about 9.5, and we'll be ready to wrap up our cup. So I'm going to trim this. It will overlap a little bit. Now, if I were selling this cup, so I do plan on selling this design in my group. I'm going to do a pre-order. If I were selling it, I would have trimmed the extra piece of vinyl you'll see after I wrap my cup. But my X-Acto knife literally will not even cut tissue paper, and I ordered new blades for it online, and they're still not here, so I wasn't able to trim it. But this is just for my toddler, so it's totally fine. She won't mind at all. All right, so once you go through this process of trimming your vinyl, getting it to where you like it, this took me probably longer than it should have, but whatever. I didn't want to regret what I ended up keeping on my tumbler. So we're going to go ahead and wrap our cup. So I just like to wrap it loosely around the tumbler, make sure it's all lined up, make sure that my edges are meeting before I commit and take the backing off of my vinyl. So we'll do that. Now, when I wrap my tumbler with vinyl or tacky tape or anything like that, I prefer to use little sewing clips to hold it in place. Alternatively, you could use like painter's tape. That's fine to use on the vinyl too. But I just use these little sewing clips because I just think that they're super simple. So I'm just going to double check, make sure it's lined up. I'm going to put 2 of them on there so it holds it nice and straight. And then we're going to lay our vinyl out. I grabbed my weeding tool. I don't know why, because it's not helpful in this situation, but you're going to carefully peel the vinyl away from the backing and just fold down like 1/2 inch to 1 inch. You don't need to measure it or be exact. And then we are going to wrap that back around the cup. We're going to lift up that little section that we clipped down. I'm going to use a little vinyl squeegee and lay that down. The size of this cup also is perfect for wrapping in vinyl because that vinyl squeegee like covers the whole thing. So it makes it super simple. So when you're pushing down printed vinyl, you literally don't even have to remove the backing. Just make sure there's no debris on your cup, on your table, like little specks of glitter or dust or anything like that, because you'll see them under the vinyl. And you don't even have to pull the backing. You literally just carefully take your vinyl squeegee, push it down as you go. If you get any little wrinkles in there, you can carefully pull your vinyl back up and flatten it. You'll see here, that's my seam. That's what I said earlier. I would certainly trim if I were selling this cup, but I have no chill and I didn't want to wait for my X-Acto knife blades to come in. So my toddler has an overlap on her tumbler, but she'll be okay. So now that our vinyl is on our cup, we are going to do a black pinstripe. And I also added my toddler's name. I am so sorry. I thought I recorded that part, but apparently I did not. So I just made a pinstripe in Design Space. I did 0.15 by 10. I wrapped it right around the very bottom of the vinyl, trimmed it, and then I cut out her name in bubble letters and applied them to the bottom. So now we can go straight into epoxy. So you guys, if you've seen my other tutorials, know I love to mix mica powder into my epoxy to give my cups a little sparkle. So I'm going to be using ultra white mica and blueberry eyes, so it will have a blue sparkle to it. That's my toddler's favorite color. So I'm going to put just a pinch of each of those into my epoxy. I'm going to mix it well and apply it to my cup. After that first layer cures, I will go right in with the second layer. Then I'll let the second layer cure. I'll give it a light sand, do a third layer, and my cup is finished. I told you guys this is the simplest tumbler tutorial in the world. So I hope that you found this helpful, maybe a little bit inspirational. If you did, I would love a thumbs up on my video. If you want to see more tutorials in the future, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Until next time, happy crafting.